Cool. Hey guys, hopefully today in class you had a go at the practice test. Obviously in this video I'm just going to run through, do it myself, and you can check your answers as you go. Okay. Alrighty then. If I am answering question 1, I can see to get from 75 down to 15, I have divided by 5, and hence I need to do the same at the top, divide the 5 by 5, so I should get 1 over 15. For this one here, to get from 1 to 50, I've multiplied by 50, so I have to multiply by 50 here as well, so I will get 100. Here I've done times 3, so same on the top, and I'll end up with 9. Adding the following fractions together, obviously we need common denominators, ideally the lowest common denominators, but we'll see how we go. Between 4 and 8, I can put them both over 8, so multiplying top and bottom by 2 there to make that 2 over 8. That's probably could be written a little bit better, 2 over 8. And then it's as simple as adding those numerators together. Awesome. For this one here, same story. I believe our lowest common denominator is going to be 36. So I have times top and bottom by 6 over here to get 6, and I've times top and bottom by 4 over here to get 28. Adding that together, I get 34 out of 36, or 17 on 18. All right. This one here, we need to convert from well, actually for addition, we can get away without going to an improper. We do need the same denominators though, which I believe is going to be 63. If there is a lower one, I do apologize. So I've multiplied by 7 and by 7, and I've multiplied by 9 and by 9 for the other one. So 63, 63. 5 times 7 would be 35. 2 times 9 would be 18. Adding them together, I am going to get 53, I believe. Cool. And I've made one mistake there. I've forgotten this whole number. So if I keep that there and then there, we get the right answer. All right, for this one here, common denominator is going to be 66. And let's not make the same mistake. Let's remember the whole numbers this time. So 66 plus this over 66. So I've multiplied top and bottom by 11 here, top and bottom by 6 here. So I'll end up with 55 out of 66 and 42 out of 66. Adding the whole numbers together, so the 2 and the 1, I get 3. Adding the numerators together, I'm going to get 97 out of 66. And then we don't have a common factor of 3 or 2. Yeah. If I list out my prime numbers to check for common factors, no 2, no 3, no 5, 7, nope, 11, nope, 13, no. Look, without double checking it, I'm going to assume that that is that there is no common factors here to simplify. What I do need to do, however, though, is pull that extra whole number. Because this numerator is bigger than the denominator, I can pull 66 out of the numerator to make 4 whole numbers. And if I'm pulling 66 out, then I'm left with 31 on the top. So that should be, I'll make that a bit clearer. So that should be 4 and 31 out of 66. Cool. For the next one here, my common denominator is going to be 9. So multiply by 3, multiply by 3. Might just work below on this one. And obviously that's an improper, so we need to make that into a mixed number. So I can see we'd have, 9, 18, 27, 36, and then 45. So we're going to have 4 and 7 out of 9, and that would be my final answer. Cool. It's not scrolling for me, guys. I do apologize. Not sure why it's not scrolling, but anyway, that's kind of worked. All right, similar idea here with the common denominators. 3 over 8 minus 2 over 8 to give me 1 over 8. Once again, similar idea with the, well, actually, we're going to run into another issue with this one, but we'll get to that in a sec. I still need a common denominator, though, which is still going to be 36. Same as one we just did up above. So it's going to be 6, and it's going to be 28. But 6 minus 28 doesn't work, right? I can't do that without going into the negatives. So what we are going to do is we're going to borrow this whole number, right? And so this will end up being 42 out of 36, removing that whole number, or rather adding it into the fraction, making it improper again, and then minusing the 28 over 36 still. And so that ends up as 14 out of 36, or 7 out of 18. Cool. For this one here, 1 and, what did we say the common denominator, common multiple would be? Have I been saying common factor? Not too sure. Anyway, common multiple should be 63, or common denominator should be 63, and I believe last time we ended up with 35, and we ended up with 18. This one here I don't need to borrow, so I can just treat it as 1 minus, well, there's no whole numbers here, right? So I've still got that whole number, and then 35 minus 18 should be 17 on 63. Cool. All right, this one here, common denominators were 66. And we had 55 out of 66 minus 42 out of 66. Because I don't have to borrow in this one, I can just do 2 minus 1 with the whole numbers to get 1. 55 minus 42 to get 13 out of 66. And seeing as 13 is a prime number, that is as simple as that one will get. For this next one, we had 30 out of 9 minus 13 out of 9, which should give us 17 out of 9, which is 1 and 8 out of 9. Cool. All right, multiplying. Just going to write 6 as 6 over 1 to make this nice and easy. And then we just multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. So 6 times 3 is 18. 1 times 7 is 7. Always simplify if you can. So I'm going to make, or, convert to a mixed number if you can. So I'm going to make this into 2 whole numbers and 4 out of 7 left over. Same story here. 9 times 5 should be 45. 10 times 6 should be 60. Dividing the top and bottom by 15 should help me simplify that down into 3 out of 4. I need to make this mixed number improper, so I'm going to end up with 27 out of 10 times 1 out of 6, so 27 out of 60. And I know I can see straight away I could divide both by 3. So there might be a higher common factor, but let's just run with that for a sec. So I'd end up with 9 out of 20. And that looks as simple as it will go. Yep, no common factors there. Okay, so that will be our answer. This one here, same as a little bit earlier. We want to make sure we write them out as fractions. 8 out of 10 or 4 out of 5 should be our right answer here. This one here, we're going to be doing some big multiplication here. Admittedly, on the test tomorrow, you probably won't get numbers as big as this, but doesn't hurt to practice. 5 times 12 plus the 5 should give us 65 out of 12. And we're multiplying that by, it's going to be 33 plus 9, so 42 in the numerator out of 11. Just converting both of these to improper, just to be clear. So 65 times 42 over 12 times 11 is, like I said, definitely, 12 times 11 would be reasonable, but 65 times 42 would be a little bit harsh. You won't get anything like that, be asked to do anything like that without a calculator. Okay, but 65 times 42 should be 2,730. And look, once again, if you had your calculator, you could definitely simplify this much easier. Without a calculator, this would be quite a tedious process. You can definitely see, though, like straight away, they could both be divided by 2 and so on. We can run with this for a little bit just for the sake of being accurate. So over 66 and 1365 on the top. And unless that numerator is divisible by 11, no, it's not. Maybe by 3. Okay, we can divide top and bottom by 3. So this was divide by 2 to get that step. Dividing by 3, I would end up with 455 out of 22. And then at this point, what could go into 22? Well, 11, but I believe we've ruled that out already. We could have 2, but that doesn't work. No, nothing else really. So in theory, that's as simple as it would get. Converting it to a mixed number would be about 20 whole numbers. 22. If I had 20 whole numbers, that would be 440. And there's another 15 to get to what we wanted to. So yeah, so I'd have 20 whole numbers with 15 on 22 left over. So to be honest, this whole thing that we've just done here is a bit unrealistic, especially for at a year 7 level without a calculator. But just so you guys know, if you did that with a calculator, it's fine. Or if you tried to do it without a calculator, that's hopefully what you should have got. All right, these ones here, we've got 6 over 1, and then we're going to use the KFC method, flip that. We get 42 over 3. 42 over 3 is 14 on the nose. This one here, 9 over 10, change to multiply and flip the second fraction. So we end up with 54 over 50, or 1 and 4 out of 50, or 1 and 2 out of 25. This one here, we're going to have to convert. We're going to have to make that 27 out of 10. Multiplied by 6 over 1. 27 times 6, that's a bit of a tough one. Ends up as 162 over 10. And then we can put that in 16 times, and we're left with 2. We've got 16 whole numbers in there, and we're left with 2 in the numerator, or 16 and 1 out of 5. Let's see, for this one here, we've got 1 over 10 times, so this would be 8 over 1, but when we flip it, 1 over 8, so we get 1 out of 80, and that's that one. All right, this one here, we're going to get 65 out of 12 divided by, what did we say this was before? 42, I believe, out of 11. Cool. Doing the keep, flip, change thing, we would multiply by 11 out of 42. And this is going to get a little bit messy like last time. I won't spend as long on this one as I did last time. We will leave it as a unsimplified fraction for today, because like I said, simplifying something like that would not be expected at the year 7 level. Okay. Cool. This one here, if I'm placing these on a number line, straight away I can see that I have a common denominator of, well, I can create potentially a common denominator of Or actually, I was going to say 9, but the 1 over 6 is going to be a problem. Yeah, it's going to be a problem. So let's go let's go to 18 instead. So we would have times top and bottom by 6 over here. So I'd get 6 on 18. I'd get 3 on 18 for the next one. I'd get 14 on 18 for the one after that. And I would get 1 and 2 out of 18 for the final one there. And so then I would get my ruler out and go from 0 all the way up. We want to go past 1, but we want 18 increments. So that would be like 1/18th, 2/18th, 3/18ths, 4/18ths, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18/18ths, that's my whole number there. And I've got a couple more increments that will be necessary. And then if I'm going to place these fractions, let's see, the lowest one's 3 out of 18, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3 out of 18 there. Then we have 6, so, well, actually, since the question presented it to us not as 3 out of 18, but as 1 out of 6, let's write it as that. So that was still 1, 2, 3 out of 18, but we're going to write it as 1 out of 6. Then we got 6 on 18, which is 1 over 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and put in 1 out of 3. Next, we've got 14 out of 18. So up here would be 18 out of 18, 17 out of 18, 16 out of 18, 15 out of 18. And then 14 out of 18 is going to be here, which we will write as 7 out of 9 as it was presented in the question. 1 and 2 out of 18, we would end up over here, and I'm going to write it as 1 and 1 out of 9 as was given in the question. Cool. Obviously, if you had your ruler, you could extend this out, make sure you did another 18 increments and so on until you got to two whole numbers. All right, some worded problems. Emily, she's got 20 apples from her tree. She gave 1/5 of them to her neighbours. How many does she have left? Well, 1/5 of 20, that means 20 times by 1/5. Let's work out how much she's given away to begin with. So that's 20 over 1 times 1 over 5, which is 20 over 5, which is equal to 4. So if she's giving away 4, how many does she have left? She's got 20 minus 4. She has 16 apples left. Sam has 4 1/4 meters of ribbon. Beautiful. He cuts off 3/5 of a meter for a gift. Okay, so we're losing 3/5. How much has he got left? So we need a common denominator here, which is going to be 20. So 4 and 5 out of 20 minus 12 out of 20. I'm going to need to borrow in order to do this subtraction. So I'm going to end up with 3 and 25 out of 20 minus 12 out of 20. So I'm going to end up with 3 and 13 out of 20 meters left. Yep, cool. Tom's got 3.5 meters of rope. His friend gives him another 3/4 of a meter. How much does he have? 3.5, and we're adding on 3/4 of a meter. Common denominator would be 4. That would end up as 5 out of 4, which gives us another whole number. So we end up with 4 1/4. Mrs. Khan has 4 2/3 of a kilo of sugar. So 4 2/3 of a kilo. She wants to divide it equally into containers that each hold 5/6 of a kilogram. So we're dividing it by 5/6 of a kilo. We need this as an improper to begin with. So I'm going to get 14 out of 3 by doing, the multiply add. And whilst we're at it, we may as well change this to a multiply and flip that other fraction. And then we have 3 times 5 on the bottom, which is 15. 6 times 14 on the top, which is going to be 84. Yep, should be 84. And then 15, I believe, would go into it 5 times. with, let's just double check this, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, yes, with 9 left over. Cool. And that would be our answer. So that's how many, so she can fill 5 and 9/15 of a container. If the question had asked how many, like, you know, whole containers can she fill, well, she could only fill 5 whole containers. Okay. All right. Mr. Thomas, he's got 5 1/4 meters of rope. Interesting. He uses 3/4 of a meter. Okay, so we've lost 3/4 of a meter. The rest of the rope will be cut into pieces that are each 2/3 of a meter long. All right, so we'll address this second part of the question later. Answering this first bit, we need to do a quick borrow. So we're going to get 4 and we'll end up with 5 out of 4 minus 3 out of 4. So we'll end up with 4 and 2 out of 4. And we may as well simplify that. Why not? Why not? And now answering the second part of the question where we're cutting it into pieces that are 2/3 of a meter long. This is a division problem. So 4.5 divided by 2 out of 3 is going to become, well, we need this as an improper. So 8, 9 out of 2 multiplied by 3 out of 2 using KFC. If you guys remember, like the keeping the first fraction the same, flipping the second fraction and changing the divide to a multiply. Anyway, we end up with 27 out of 4. That would be 6 whole numbers and 3/4 left over. Cool. Oh, and that was the last one. Awesome. Look, hopefully you guys feel prepared for the test tomorrow. If there are any issues with anything I've done in this, feel free to come see me before school tomorrow. I know you guys are allowed in at 8:15 and I will definitely be here by then. Have a good one, guys. Bye.